Welcome back to another Daily Wisdom from Proverbs. We're in chapter 20 today, but before we get into it, I get asked this question a lot. How do you memorize Scripture? What's a good way to remember chapter and verse numbers? And there's all different ways to do it. Just spending a lot of time in the Word is one way. But sometimes God arranges His Word in such a way that makes it easy for people to remember it. Such is the case with Proverbs 20, verse 1. 21. In Pennsylvania, in most states, the legal drinking age is 21 years. When you hit 21, people go like, I'm going to go out and get something to drink. Well, Proverbs 21 deals with alcohol. Look at it with me. Wine is a mocker, strong drink is a brawler, and, this is one of those and verses, not a but, it amplifies it, and whoever is led astray by it, by wine, by liquor, by those addictive type substances, whoever is led astray by it is not wise. What it's saying in this verse is very clear, that when you become dependent upon a substance, wine, liquor, strong drink, and those things make a mockery out of you when you're dependent upon it. When you are led astray by those things, it's very clear here. It says it's not wise for you to be led astray. I've met many, many people in my life who have been led astray by alcohol. Many, many people have been led astray by drugs and substances that they would become addicted to. And when they get led astray, it makes a mockery out of them. And to be led astray by those things, according to the book of Proverbs and according to my own personal experience with people, it's not wise. Verse 2 says, the terror of a king is like the growling of a lion. Whoever provokes him to anger forfeits his life. Verse 3, I love this verse. It's an honor for a man to keep aloof from strife, but every fool will be quarreling. Aloof means I don't want to get close to it. I don't want to get involved with it. And it's good for us. It's an honor for us to say, I'm not going to get involved in useless, needless quarrels and arguments, but fools do it all the time. Verse 4, the sluggard does not plow in the autumn. He will seek at harvest, and then when harvest comes, what will he have? He'll have nothing. Verse 5, the purpose in a man's heart is like deep water, but a man of understanding will draw it out. So what does that mean? We do things sometimes. We act a certain way. We say certain things. And we have to ask ourselves, why am I doing this? What's the deep water that's within my heart? And a man of understanding means I need to take my own motives and my own reasons for doing things and understand those things. What are my real motives? Why do I behave the way I do? Why do I say the things I say? And what this verse is saying is that you'll know your own heart better when you're a person of wisdom. Verse 6, many a man proclaims his own steadfast love, but a faithful man, a real faithful man, who does more than just talk, who can find? In other words, lots of people are all talk and no action, but a person who truly loves is very rare. Verse 7, the righteous who walk in his integrity, blessed are his children after him. The best inheritance you can leave for your children is not money and cars and houses. It's a life of integrity. Verse 8, a king who sits on the throne of judgment winnows all evil with his eyes. Verse 9, echoed in the New Testament, says this, who can say, quote, I have made my heart pure. I am clean from my sin. And the answer is nobody. Nobody can say, I'm clean and I'm pure. In the New Testament, we read, for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. That's why we need Jesus. That's why Christ died, and his sacrifice was to save us from those sins that we cannot save ourselves from. Verse 10, unequal weights and unequal measures are both alike an abomination to the Lord. Verse 11, even a child makes himself known by his acts, by whether his conduct is pure and upright. Verse 12, the hearing ear and the seeing eye, the Lord has made them both. When you think about the engineering marvel that our ear is, with the tympanic membrane and the eardrum, and how it reacts to vibration and it can hear sounds. When you think of how amazing our eye is and how it connects to our brain and the optic nerves and the lenses and everything else that goes on, it's amazing. God did that. He designed them. He made them. And to this day, we're trying to make better and better cameras and better microphones, when God made the perfect microphone and the perfect camera in your ear and in your eye. Verse 13, love not sleep, lest you come to poverty. Open your eyes, and you'll have plenty of bread. Verse 14, bad, says the buyer, but when he goes away, then he boasts. In other words, at times when we're trying to buy something, we're trying to beat down the price as much as we can, and then after we get a good price, we say, oh, what a great deal I got. Verse 15, there's gold and abundance of costly stones, but the lips of knowledge are a precious jewel. That's more precious than real gold and lots of costly stones. Verse 16, take a man's garment when he has put up security for a stranger, and hold it in pledge when he puts up security for foreigners. Another verse about the danger of getting into debt for other people. Verse 17, bread gained by deceit is sweet to a man. When we cheat people out of things, when we steal things, it's like, I got this for nothing. But afterwards, here's the second half of that verse, afterward his mouth will be full of gravel. So even though it seems sweet, it's harmful to us. 18, plans are established by counsel, by wise guidance wage war. Verse 19, whoever goes about slandering reveals secrets. Therefore, do not associate with a simple babbler. Simple babbler, what's that? Somebody that talks too much. That's what a simple babbler is. And it's saying here, when somebody talks way too much, maybe that's a person you don't want to hang out with too much. Verse 20, if one curses his father or his mother, his lamp will be put out in utter darkness. So lots of wisdom in honoring your parents. It's one of the 10 Commandments as well. Verse 21 says, an inheritance gained hastily in the beginning will not be blessed in the end. And if you want an example of that, look in the New Testament at the parable Jesus told of the prodigal son, who got an inheritance early, hastily, and then blew it all really quickly. Verse 22, do not say, I will repay evil. Wait for the Lord, and he will deliver you. Let's make that one the key verse for today. Sometimes we feel like it's our job. I'm the one who has to take revenge on somebody. I'm the one who has to get back at somebody. I'm the one who has to teach that person a lesson. I'm going to get them back for what they did. Whether it's whatever means possible, whether it's I'm going to give them the cold shoulder, to I'm actually going to do to them what they did to me. But this verse says, let's read it again. Verse 22, do not say, I will repay evil. Instead, look at this. Wait for the Lord, and he will deliver you. Sometimes we say, I don't want to wait for the Lord. He's taking too long. I don't want to wait to be delivered. But God is just. We've seen that over and over and over again in the book of Proverbs. God is just, and he will bring about justice in his time for you and for others. Verse 23, unequal weights are an abomination to the Lord, and false scales are not good. A man's steps are far from the Lord. How then can man understand his way? Verse 25, it is a snare to say rashly, it is holy, and to reflect only after making vows. What does that mean? It means that before you promise something to somebody, you need to weigh out that promise. You need to take your promises so seriously that you don't promise something unless you know it's something that you can keep. So you think through a promise. It's okay to say, let me pray about that. Let me get back to you about that, rather than say, oh, yes, I'll do it. And then later you say, oh, sorry, I can't follow through. Don't be a person who breaks your promises. If you promise something, make it something you can keep. But make sure it's something you've thought through and prayed through first. Verse 26, a wise king winnows the wicked and drives a wheel over them. Verse 27, the spirit of man is the lamp of the Lord, searching all his innermost parts. God will reveal what's inside you. Verse 28, steadfast love and faithfulness preserve the king, and by steadfast love his throne is upheld. 29, the glory of young men is their strength, but the splendor of old men is their gray hair. And verse 30, blows that wound cleanse away evil, strokes make clean the innermost parts. What does that mean? Well, it means that discipline is necessary at times to help people understand what they've done. And I don't want to get into, prison reform and all those sorts of things. But the idea is that there are times when punishment applied justly does help people overcome the sins that they've committed. That's why parents have to be just in the way that they apply discipline to their children when the children disobey. That's why employers have to be just in the way they pursue discipline with people in the job. And that's why in the justice system, we have to be just in the way we apply discipline and punishment for crimes. Well, that's Daily Wisdom for today from Proverbs chapter 20, and I look forward to talking with you more tomorrow. God bless you.